spending 2 hours staring at the back of someone's bumper isn't the best way to end your day. So Jack in the Box is giving you a bonus with their new Bonus Jack combo. Fries, a drink, and a burger with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 patties, starting at just $4.49. Get so much more.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers may have made some progress in finding a backup quarterback behind Justin Herbert. Trey Lance, the number 3 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, was the main story Thursday night in the Chargers' 34-7 preseason win over Detroit in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. Lance completed 13 of 20 passes and threw for 2 touchdowns. This is a very important summer for Lance. The Chargers are his 3rd team since he was drafted by San Francisco. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh is giving Lance another chance. At the moment, Lance is making the most of his opportunity. The Rams play their preseason opener August 9th against Dallas at SoFi Stadium. The LA Sparks are back in action tonight at Seattle. The Sparks have been playing much better lately in the WNBA. They are 6-2 in their last 8. The Dodgers are at Tampa Bay. The Angels are home against the Chicago White Sox. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time. Whenever news breaks, while we're on the air, it's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580. And we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. And I thank you, thank you.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA 1580. Today on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, we are still reflecting upon what's taking place in the nation and the body politic, and that is the state of Texas and their mid-decade redistricting efforts are now encouraging and creating a tension that's forcing Democratic governors to consider redistricting in their states. If you listen carefully to the rhetoric between Democrats and Republicans, neither side is mentioning the Voting Rights Act of 1965. We're largely locked within the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party usually carries our interests. But because we have not been able to, on the question of what it means to have Black representation, to make the distinction that we are actually, as Black people, independent Democrats, which means there are those moments in political discourse when our interests are not solely represented by the Democratic Party. The governor of California says that in light of Texas's redistricting, he's looking at redistricting the entire state of California in order to offset the number of seats that Texas Republicans think they will gain by targeting 4 African-American congressional districts. J.B. Pritzker in the state of Illinois has now signaled that the state of Illinois may reconsider its map. New York, New Jersey. What they are not saying is that they have to take blacks out of safe African-American congressional districts and move them to Republican districts, hence diluting the significance of the voice of African-American representation in the Congress of the United States. We've seen this game played before during First Reconstruction, when more than a dozen African-American men, pursuant to the 15th Amendment, were elected to the Congress of the United States. And after the Tilden-Hayes Compromise, another Democratic and Republican Party compromise where they did not take into account the interests of the newly freed people after the American Civil War. By the early 1920s, I think it would be Oscar DePriest from Illinois who would signal the end of African-American representation in the Congress of the United States. We are looking at a similar period right now. It's taking place, as Johnny Mack said yesterday, in time, because in the present, we don't understand that over time, the things that are happening in time have tremendous ramifications and consequences for African-American representation. I can't say enough about that because too many of us are silent. This is what happened yesterday. In the Texas redistricting map, they drew Jasmine Crockett out of her congressional district, a safe Democratic district that allows her to have the voice that she has in the Congress of the United States. By changing the demographics of the representation and the people that she represents, it literally changes her voice if she chooses to stay in Congress. Or she can go to court and fight the Texas plan, which would be extremely expensive, arguing, of course, that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 protects her district, and this is an unusual process being advanced by the state of Texas. But imagine if in California, Maxine Waters now has to go to court, or imagine in Illinois if Danny Davis has to go to court, or Jonathan Jackson or Robin Kelly has to go to court. Imagine in the state of New York if Greg Meeks now has to go to court. Imagine in South Carolina if Jim Clyburn has to go to court. Imagine if African Americans in Congress in Alabama, Benny Thompson in Mississippi, African Americans in Georgia, all have to go to court arguing that to pack their districts with MAGA Republicans essentially either changes their voice or they simply can't win in their congressional districts. This argument and this fight isn't going anywhere. But it's something that our best and brightest minds are going to have to turn their attention to. There are 62 African Americans in the Congress of the United States at this hour. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of African American legislators whose districts are behind or within as subsets of African American congressional districts. Their lines will change too. Hence, black state legislators and black state senators, their voices too will change if the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is indeed struck down. I didn't want to start our program today by talking about this issue, but the fact of the matter is this issue isn't going anywhere, and we're going to be struggling with it for quite some time because the very effectiveness of our representation at every level of the government itself could be at stake. Governor Gavin Newsom went so far as to say today that he is not sure, if we don't put up a fight right now, that there will even be a presidential election in 2028. On the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, when we come forward, a very, very serious issue, an unresolved investigation regarding Jelani Day. Today, we're going to celebrate his life, but we're also going to hear from his mother and her long-fought battle to ensure that her son gets justice. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, Carmen Bolden Day.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Charmin Ultra Strong. You can use less, better than the rest. Charmin Ultra Strong. Your booty past the clean test. Salmon weave texture, it's the best. Study up, teach a lesson on fresh. Your booty past the clean test. Yes, sir. Charmin Ultra Strong.
Charmin Ultra Strong with diamond weave texture cleans better than the leading one-ply brand, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
What about you? Yeah.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time. Whenever news breaks, while we're on the air, it's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580. And we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Raquel Graham, and I have a big announcement to make. I have my own radio show. It debuts on KBLA 1580 on August 2nd, and it is called Entrepreneuring. I'm an inventor, a Shark Tank winner, entrepreneur for over a decade, and a proud mom of 2. I created this show because I know firsthand that entrepreneurship doesn't have just one look. Entrepreneuring celebrates what building a business really looks like. Big, medium, small, and micro. Some of us are running multi-million-dollar operations. Some of us are braiding hair in our kitchens. We're bakers, grant writers, laundromat owners, event promoters. Mark your calendars. Please tune in August 2nd, KBLA 1580 at 1 p.m. Pacific time. No question is too big or small. Let me know what you'd like for me to cover. See you then.
Spending 2 hours staring at the back of someone's bumper isn't the best way to end your day. So Jack in the Box is giving you a bonus with their new Bonus Jack Combo. Fries, a drink, and a burger with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 patties, starting at just $4.49. Get so much more.
Become a U.S. citizen with the help of the Los Angeles Public Library. Get free and confidential information on immigration and citizenship. Visit lapl.org/NAI to find your nearest library, or call us at 213-228-7390. That's lapl.org/NAI or 213-228-7390 and start your path to becoming a U.S. citizen with the help of the Los Angeles Public Library. Call 213-228-7390 or visit lapl.org/NAI.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit Pfizerforall.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
There's one question every couple needs to answer. What if something happens to us? Kids, a house, a life you've built, but no estate plan? That's a risk you don't want to take. With Trust and Will, it's fast, secure, and easy to protect what matters most. Start your plan today at trustandwill.com. Use code RADIO to save 20%. Check it off your list. One less thing to worry about. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Justin Will.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest in this hour is Carmen Bolden Day. She's the mother of Jelani Day, 25-year-old graduate student, someone who had a lot to live for, whose body was found in the Illinois River after a period of disappearance. She's been actively seeking answers and justice for her son, believing that his death was not a suicide as authorities initially suggested. Carmen has publicly spoken out about the condition of Jelani's body, which was found with missing organs and facial features, and has questioned the police investigation itself. She's also highlighted the disparity in media attention given to her son's case compared to other missing person cases like Gabby Petito. Carmen is dedicated to raising awareness for many other cases and has started a foundation, the Jelani Day Foundation, to assist families who are going through some extraordinarily difficult times in their battles for justice. Carmen, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so honored that you're here. First, let me express our sincerest concerns for your loss. And I want to thank you in a special way for reaching out to Tavis Smiley here at KBLA so that we could shed some light on your case and your son and this situation.
Well, I appreciate you and Tavis for helping me get some light onto this.
I also want to thank, in his absence, my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who has stood with you in the past and would be standing with you, but given his limited health availability and concerns, wants me to send you his prayers and wants you to continue this fight for justice for your son.
Yes, I appreciate that. Rev means a lot to me. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten the exposure and the things that I needed to get Jelani's name out there. So I'm very appreciative of Reverend Jackson.
Carmen, can you share with us what the status of the investigation is and what the status, what you've heard lately, or if you've heard anything since Jelani's disappearance?
Lately, I haven't heard anything. Right now, the case is still open. However, the investigation is inactive. I am seeking and I'm wanting there to be the investigation. I've asked the Attorney General to put a special prosecutor or new eyes on the case, which would be on the police departments. Per the Attorney General, he can't help me with any of this. So I am needing assistance. I'm needing guidance to know what it is that I can do and who I can get to help me. I'm reached out to the governor, the lieutenant governor. However, I have not had any help.
Carmen, has the investigation yielded any new evidence? Have any people stepped forward? Anyone with a narrative, a story that might shed some light on what could have happened?
No, not as I know of. Everything when there has been individuals that quote unquote leads, the police say that they amount to nothing, that they go anywhere, that they don't go anywhere. However, there are things that I have pointed out to them that should be investigated, and they have not been.
For example?
Jelani's car, the YMCA where the car was found, when that car was found that evening, per the police, the video cameras at that YMCA did not work. However, on September the 4th, I found out that those video cameras work. We did retrieve video. I did tell the police that they needed to go back and they needed to retrieve it. However, I found out in February of 2022 that the police did not even try to go back to get that video until January of 2022. So from September of 2021 they never went there to return to get that video. And on that video, there is a vehicle that is leaving that area that should be looked at. And and like I said, we recorded it with our phones. The police never went back to retrieve that video again until January of the next year. So by the time they went back, the YMCA had recorded over it. So it's things like that was not done and that should have been looked at. We still do have those videos of that vehicle that was leaving that area. However, the police are acting as if that's not important information, if that's something that they should look at.
Carmen, share more about who your son was, what he was like. We know that he was a graduate student. And again, our audience primarily today in Los Angeles, but of course available around the world by app, would like to know more specifics about what kind of young man your son was.
Jelani was a very articulate, outgoing, family-oriented young man. He was focused. He had goals and he had dreams, and he was out trying to pursue those things. He loved life. Jelani was protective of me and his father. So nothing that would have indicated that Jelani would harm himself was ever there. Jelani wouldn't have harmed himself. He had no kind of mental health history. Jelani was very, very, very lively. He enjoyed being around his family and friends. Like I said, my son was just focused. He was focused on life. The last time I spoke to him, we were actually getting ready for a family trip. We were going to Florida for Thanksgiving. I was just getting on Jelani that day about paying his part because I usually take care of him. He was the youngest of one of the youngest of my 5 children. So, I was getting on him that day. I was like, Jelani, you got to pay your part. He was like, okay, mama. And, we talked all day on that Monday. So there was nothing wrong with Jelani that Jelani would have done anything to himself.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. Was there any interest? I know that the local police department has been significantly absent or not forthcoming in some of the aspects of the investigation thus far, but has there been any interest by the federal government or the Department of Justice in Jelani's case?
No, I've sought help from the Department of Justice before this new administration came in. I tried to get in contact with Kristen Clark on several different occasions. Reverend Jackson was trying to set up meetings with her. It was unsuccessful. During the time when Jelani went initially missing, the FBI did a behavioral analysis on Jelani. They wanted to analyze what his mindset was. That's all of the help. That's the only help that I received from the FBI, according to, or the contact that I made with them. According to the police, the FBI could not become involved. It didn't cross state lines, is what they told me. I don't understand that part because, again, the circumstances of Jelani's disappearance and his death, it does require that the FBI come in, or it should have required that the FBI to come in and help. At that same time, when Jelani went missing, Gabby Petito went missing. She got all that focus and the attention, the resources, and nobody could tell you anything about Jelani because you wasn't hearing his name on the news, where you were seeing her every day, all day, social media, the news. So we didn't get anything about Jelani.
Carmen, were there any indications that Jelani may have been in any kind of struggle with law enforcement, or any chance that in the area in which he was recovered, his civil rights may have been violated, that would have compelled the U.S. government, the FBI, to further investigate Jelani's case?
I would think so. I actually said to the Attorney General a couple of weeks ago that Jelani's civil rights and his civil liberties have been violated because he did not receive the attention or the help that from the police departments that he deserved. When Jelani went missing, it took me at least a good 5 hours to even get them to help me to file a missing persons report. From there, they never even conducted a search for Jelani. Those searches that were done on behalf of my son were conducted by myself. The search that found that body on that day was at my insistence that they invite the Illinois Search and Rescue be invited to help search because the police were not doing anything. So yes, those things there, I feel like would constitute involvement from the federal government. But however, they did not.
Carmen, we often hear of other high-profile cases, and certainly the Jelani Davis case is certainly the Jelani Day case is certainly one of them. But I guess I'm asking that there are a number of cases that you correctly state, like the Petito case, that get all of the attention while Jelani's case simply didn't. And now that you've established the Jelani Day Foundation, I'm wondering if you are now meeting more parents, more people whose cases aren't getting the light, but obviously deserve the light based upon the uniqueness of your struggle and your fight for justice.
I have. There are parents that have reached out to me, but to be totally transparent and honest with you, I haven't been able to give them the attention that they are asking of me because I've been trying to get the attention for myself, for my son. And it's often been very hard because going through this journey on a daily basis and having to deal with the fact that I'm never going to get Jelani back and I don't know what happened to him, it's hard. And so the foundation is something that I want to make sure that does provide that assistance. But in order for me to be able to help others, I'm trying to first help myself. But at the same time, I want to help other families. I want to help other mothers because this is something that I would not want them to have to experience, and especially to have to experience alone. So I'm trying to gain the knowledge and make the connections so that I'm able to help those families.
If I might, and I really don't mean or intend to go any deeper into the facts of the case than you want to as Jelani's mother, but feel free to share with us some of the awkward, if you will, some of the irreconcilable aspects of the case thus far that leave you baffled, leave us baffled, and leave us continually asking questions of the investigators.
First of all, they said that Jelani drowned. There was no water found in Jelani's lungs, so he couldn't have drowned. Jelani's car was found in a residential neighborhood behind a YMCA. It was not off of a highway. Therefore, Jelani would have had to have knowledge, if we go by the narrative that the police wanted to tell me that Jelani did this to himself, that Jelani would have driven himself into this area, which was not possible because Jelani was not familiar with Peru. His car was found without the license plates. What person committing suicide would want to that's the first thing that they would think about would be removing their license plates. His wallet was found in a yard. His lanyard was found in one area. His clothing was found a mile from where his body was found. And his clothing wasn't found until September 22nd. And they were found by two white girls who said that they were, quote unquote, wanting to help me because they had been watching things on the social media. However, they went all the way to Peru from Bloomington to walk their dog, and this is where they found Jelani's clothing.
Carmen?
His phone.
Carmen? Let me pause for station identification. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come back, more with Carmen Bolden Day.
The biggest names, the best conversations. You're riding with Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Former President Joe Biden says minority communities are under attack by the Trump administration.
You know, they're doing it all too often with the help of a Congress that's just sitting on the sideline.
Speaking at the annual gala of the National Bar Association, which is the nation's oldest and largest network of Black legal professionals, Biden warned that gains made during his term are being rolled back and called the current fight the most serious since the 1960s. Prosecutors want a longer prison sentence for Sean Diddy Combs, who was convicted on 2 counts of transporting for prostitution. He faces up to 10 years per count. They're also fighting his request for $50 million bail ahead of his October 3rd sentencing. And Black Illinois Congressman Danny Davis is retiring at 83 and will not seek a 16th term. He's endorsing State Senator LaShawn Ford to succeed him. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Spending 2 hours staring at the back of someone's bumper isn't the best way to end your day. So Jack in the Box is giving you a bonus with their new Bonus Jack Combo. Fries, a drink, and a burger with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 patties, starting at just $4.49. Get so much more.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers may have made some progress in finding a backup quarterback behind Justin Herbert. Trey Lance, the number 3 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, was the main story Thursday night in the Chargers' 34-7 preseason win over Detroit in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. Lance completed 13 of 20 passes and threw for 2 touchdowns. This is a very important summer for Lance. The Chargers are his 3rd team since he was drafted by San Francisco. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh is giving Lance another chance. At the moment, Lance is making the most of his opportunity. The Rams play their preseason opener August 9th against Dallas at SoFi Stadium. The LA Sparks are back in action tonight at Seattle. The Sparks have been playing much better lately in the WNBA. They are 6-2 in their last 8. The Dodgers are at Tampa Bay tonight. The Angels are home against the Chicago White Sox. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., inviting you to join me weekdays at 12 noon, right after Tavis Smiley, here on KBLA Talk 1580. As a law school graduate and a theologian with a firm grasp of our body politic given almost 2 decades in Congress, my show is the fresh new home of an authentic, uncompromised quest for transformation and salvation, both personal and collectively, as I vigorously interrogate the theological and symbolic meanings embedded in our society. I promise to leverage my knowledge of history, theology, and both international and domestic issues to imagine an inclusive vision for the future, which I hope will inspire all of us to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as a given, not just an aspiration. So join me weekdays at 12 noon, right after Tavis Smiley, for 2 hours of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Become a U.S. citizen with the help of the Los Angeles Public Library. Get free and confidential information on immigration and citizenship. Visit lapl.org/NAI to find your nearest library or call us at 213-228-7390. That's lapl.org/NAI or 213-228-7390 and start your path to becoming a U.S. citizen with the help of the Los Angeles Public Library. Call 213-228-7390 or visit lapl.org/NAI.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we aim to foster enlightening, sustainable, restorative dialogue, and we welcome unapologetically progressive viewpoints that empower fellow citizens. We are now accepting submissions for KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorials like this one.
For the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. James said something that caught me off guard. Black out out that Dina is gone. My community is being murdered. I said murdered.
All you have to do is go to our website homepage at kbla1580.com and click on the icon that says KBLA Guest Editorials to learn more about our editorial standards and content submission guidelines. As long as the topic aligns with our mission, we are happy to review your submission and consider it for broadcast. We can't make any promises, but we want to amplify progressive perspectives that are community-focused and solution-oriented. So go to KBLA1580.com right now to download all the information you need about our guest editorials. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest on this program is Carmen Bolden Day. Carmen lost her son, Jelani Day, who went missing on August 24th, 2021, and his body was found in the Illinois River 2 days later. Carmen Bolden Day suspects foul play in her son's death and believes the police investigation was inadequate. She's publicly discussed the disturbing condition of Jelani's body, including the absence of organs and facial features. She's used social media, interviews, and public appearances to raise awareness about Jelani's case and advocate for justice. Carmen has publicly discussed everything that she can as a mother, and therefore everything that we know tears at our very hearts about her loss. She's used everything, social media, interviews, public appearances to raise awareness about Jelani's case and advocate for justice. And now she is on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, asking for all of our help. Carmen, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you for having me.
Carmen, how can we support the Jelani Day Foundation?
One way you can support is through right now we're looking for funding. So we're trying to raise money for the Jelani Day Foundation in order for us to be able to make sure that we're able to help families. So we are asking people to donate. You can donate by going to our website, which is the JelaniDayFoundation.org. On that website, there is a link where they can donate. We just need all of the help that we can right now to make sure that the Jelani Day Foundation is the foundation that when you think of Jelani, when you think of missing people, you will see Jelani Day. I want Jelani Day to be the missing people what Susan B. Komen is to breast cancer. That's how large I want Jelani and effective and impactful that I want Jelani to be.
So proud that you're remembering him in this way and with the intent to help lots and lots of people. So we're going to come back several times between now and the end of our show to the JelaniDayFoundation.org. I believe it's the JelaniDayFoundation.org. There is a link on the website where you can give individual contributions. And of course, they accept contributions from corporations. They accept contributions from not-for-profits, and they accept contributions from average, ordinary people, no matter how small, no matter how big. The Jelani Day Foundation is an important part of all of our lives because Jelani was involved in mankind. Jelani was a part of us, and no man's death diminishes me, or every man's death diminishes me, because we are all involved in this struggle together. Carmen, you've got to know that our love is with you. In reading some aspects of Jelani's life, he was a graduate student. What was he studying?
He was studying speech pathology. He was going to school to be a speech pathologist. He wanted to be Dr. Jelani Day.
He wanted to be Dr. Jelani Day. So was he in a PhD program, a master's program?
He was in his master's program. Yes, he was.
But with a future in pursuing possibly
he was in the graduate program. He had already received his white coat. So he was starting his clinicals to go in to be a doctor. Yes, sir.
And so no, please just call me Jesse. So the circumstances of someone who has aspirations tied to helping other people, tied to speech pathology, meaning studying the speech of other people, the idea that suddenly he felt so bad about himself or his condition that he would take his own life is just almost patently absurd.
It's just plain asinine to even think that Jelani would want to hurt himself. Jelani had too much to live for. Too much to live for. At the time, Jelani's father had cancer, and I have 5 children. Jelani, I have 3 boys. Jelani was the closest match to his dad. Jelani was coming to take his dad to his doctor's appointments. Jelani was coming home just to take my mom's garbage out. So Jelani was not going to do anything to harm himself, especially when this was going on. He was the closest match, like I said, to his father. So they wanted their dad to get better. So there was nothing that Jelani wouldn't have done to make sure that happened. And when this happened to Jelani, unfortunately it took away his father. Jelani, we lost Jelani in August, and we lost their father in April. He gave up.
I'm so sorry. Let me talk about the community's response. What has been the response of the community to Jelani's death?
Everybody wants to know, just like I want to know what happened to Jelani. I invited and I extended Jelani and shared him with everyone. So I wanted people to put themselves in my shoes at the time, and I still want them to. And imagine if this was your son or your nephew or your grandson. What would you do, and what would you want to know if your son just up and disappeared and they can give you no answers? They are providing no help or no assistance, no resources to you to find out what happened to your child. How would that make you feel, and what would you do? Because I can't sleep, and I don't function well. There are things about me that are not the same anymore. I lost a very important part of me.
I understand, Carmen. We all do understand. But you also gained us. You gained us in this process. You gained people who care. You gain a community of love and support. And we're never going to forget Jelani's life or his work, what he represented to the community, and the potentiality and the possibilities that he represented for our future. His death has diminished all of us. Tell us a little bit about Jelani's dad. You brought up that he was in his own struggle with health and that he gave up.
When we, there are pictures of Jelani and his dad and all his siblings. That his dad's birthday was August the 12th, and you look at the pictures and you see Save and you see him. He looks healthy. He looks happy. He doesn't even look sick. That night on the 25th, when we received that phone call, when I saw him that next day on the 26th, it looked like he didn't look like himself. It looked like life had drained out of him. He actually started looking sick. This took a toll on him because, like I said, my children are all close, and they were extremely close to both me and their dad. And so Jelani, like I said, Jelani was absolute. He would check on his dad. He called his dad all the time. So when he went missing, it really took an effect on his father.
We have just a couple of minutes before we close, but can you share with us more about how we can be supportive and how we can contribute to the Jelani Day Foundation?
Absolutely. We actually have a gala, a fundraising gala that's coming up on August. It is going to be Saturday, August the 23rd. It's going to be in Broadview, Illinois, where you will be my guest keynote speaker. And I'm so thankful that you have actually said that you would do this for us. And we are so grateful for that. But we're asking everybody, if they can and will, to come out and support us on that night. That's going to be an evening also to honor Jelani, but also to know that we stand and we're fighting for justice for him. You will know that we have, there's a bill that's in Jelani's name is Senate Bill 3932. What that bill entails is that if someone is found in the state of Illinois and their body is not identified within the first 72 hours, the FBI has to become involved. So those are things that we are wanting to celebrate and also highlight. So if we can come out and support us at the gala, that would be greatly appreciated.
So this invitation came across my desk. Actually, I don't have a desk anymore. It came across my email, and they were offering me a small honorarium to come. And I said, there is no way in God's earth I'm taking $1 from this family. I don't accept honorariums. I'm so grateful for their service and what they're doing, and I'm standing by them with what they're going through. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come back with Miss Carmen Bolden Day.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
There's one question every couple needs to answer. What if something happens to us? Kids, a house, a life you've built, but no estate plan? That's a risk you don't want to take. With Trust and Will, it's fast, secure, and easy to protect what matters most. Start your plan today at trustandwill.com. Use code RADIO to save 20%. Check it off your list. One less thing to worry about. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Hi, everyone. My name is Raquel Graham, and I have a big announcement to make. I have my own radio show. It debuts on KBLA 1580 on August 2nd, and it is called Entrepreneuring. I'm an inventor, a Shark Tank winner, entrepreneur for over a decade, and a proud mom of 2. I created this show because I know firsthand that entrepreneurship doesn't have just one look. Entrepreneuring celebrates what building a business really looks like. Big, medium, small, and micro. Some of us are running multi-million-dollar operations. Some of us are braiding hair in our kitchens. We're bakers, grant writers, laundromat owners, event promoters. Mark your calendars. Please tune in August 2nd, KBLA 1580 at 1 p.m. Pacific time. No question is too big or small. Let me know what you'd like for me to cover. See you then.
You have cancer. The 3 words no one wants to hear. Of the cancers that impact our community, lung cancer is the most dangerous. More people succumb to lung cancer than colon, breast, and prostate combined. Black men are 12% more likely to develop lung cancer, and cases for Black women are rising. Early detection and comprehensive treatment is the best way to beat this dreaded disease. Providence is a research leader in multi-cancer early detection, offering blood tests that identify fast-spreading cancers that don't show symptoms in early stages. The Providence Los Angeles Integrated Network Cancer Program determines best protocols for each patient, interacting with specialists who share experiences, perspectives, and new findings specific to each case. With over 1,000 board-certified physicians, including top oncologists, surgeons, radiologists, and nurse specialists, Providence delivers whole-person care that understands your culture, values, preferences, and priorities. So, if you hear the words, "you have cancer," all you need is faith and providence.org/cancer.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey man, hey, what's up? What's the station you listening to? Oh man, you don't know? That's Talk Radio, KBLA 1580 AM. Check it out. 1580 KBLA AM. 1580 Talk Radio. Progressive.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're celebrating our 4th anniversary. And this track right here is the gift one of our devoted listeners presented to us.
Where you get some information, get a true education to know. Ooh, yeah. 1580.
How cool is that? Having a member of our KBLA delegation write us a song. Stop it. Our listeners love us and there ain't nothing we can do about it. Wouldn't want to. Thanks to Cardell and everybody else for turning on KBLA Talk 1580. We love you right black.
KBLA 1580 Talk Radio. Talk Radio. Progressive. KBLA.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Carmen Bolden Day. A mother's love, pain, and the fight for the right. Carmen lost her son, but the investigation itself is incomplete. Very little information that's making it back to her. And she has now established a foundation for the memory of her son, but also to help other families who find themselves under these bizarre circumstances where her son, it could have been a daughter, had so much to live for. But what they are saying is that he suddenly didn't want to live, even though he had been working hard in graduate school to major in speech pathology. He wanted to help somebody else. His life story, the way in which he interacted with his family and his friends and other students in the universities and colleges that he attended, does not reflect someone who wanted to commit suicide. His car was found in one place, his clothes found in another, his body found in the Illinois River. It just doesn't jive. And I will be the guest speaker at Jelani Day Foundation Gala to help them raise money to bring more attention to this cause. Carmen, welcome forward on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you again for having me.
Carmen, tell me about your postcard campaign.
So the postcard campaign is something that we started because I needed, I'm looking for ways that we can get attention back to the case that the police officers I felt were negligent. What the postcard campaign does is that I'm asking anybody who can and will to go to voicesforjelaniday.com. You're going to click on the link there, and what you'll do, you'll purchase 2 postcards for $10. One of those postcards will go to the governor and one will go to the attorney general. The intent is for us to just inundate their offices with these postcards until they want to speak to me to figure out what we can do to provide assistance and find out what happened to Jelani.
I want you to take your time. And I want you to say that one more time, a little bit slower, on how we can get involved in the postcard campaign.
Okay, I want everybody to go to voicesforjelaniday.com. When you go there, there's a link that you will click on. When you click on that link, it'll give you the option where you will purchase 2 postcards. One will be sent to the governor of Illinois and one will be sent to the attorney general's office. The purpose is to inundate their offices, to let them know this is not just me who wants to know what happened to Jelani, but also you, the people, also want to know. You want to know and you want them to find out. So that is the purpose of the postcard campaign. So I'm asking anybody who can and will to go to that link and purchase the postcards.
Fantastic. How can we support your gala?
You can support the gala by either with your attendance, your sponsorship, or making a donation. I would love for everybody to come in attendance. This is an all-white gala. Jelani had, right before this incident happened where I lost my son, Jelani was talking to me about his birthday. He was always trying to plan ahead. And he said, Mama, I want to have a birthday party and can you sponsor it? And I was like, no. And he wanted to be an all-white party. So when everything happened with him in that next year when he wasn't here for his birthday, and I wasn't able to do anything for his birthday, I kept trying to think, what can I do to honor my son? And so therefore the foundation was birthed. And so when we had the first foundation, I wanted to be all white because that's what Jelani asked me for his birthday. So that is why we have had the all white gala in honor of Jelani.
I am so glad you said that because I normally show up to these events in a black suit.
No, it's an all white fundraising gala.
I am so glad you said that. Share with us a word of hope. If Jelani was with us today and he had the opportunity to speak to this national audience under very different circumstances, what would Jelani share with the people?
You know, Jelani was one that would tell me all the time, Mama, you can do it. Jelani thought I could do anything. He thought that his mom I could make magic. So I want to just share with people today to not give up. And I guess that's why I don't give up, because I know that I've instilled in my children to always push forward, that they can accomplish anything that they set their hopes and their goals towards. And so in doing this, I don't want to fail them. So failure is not an option for me at this time. So I know Jelani I know he's telling me every day, Mama, keep going.
Carmen,
so I want to encourage everybody to keep going, even when you feel like you can't. Keep going.
Your story is extremely inspiring to all of us. Give us the date of the gala again and how we can get tickets for the gala event.
The gala is going to be on Saturday, August 23rd at the Red Door Meeting Room in Broadview, Illinois. You can go to the Eventbrite, which links are located on all our social media web pages, which is on Facebook or Instagram. Click on the link, purchase the tickets. I would love to see everybody there. The tickets are $75 for general admission, $125 for VIP and cocktail hour. And we do have sponsorship opportunities available for those who want to purchase a table or sponsor. I appreciate it.
And there are ways that we can support the Jelani Day Foundation. Walk us through that website one more time.
You can go to the Jelani Day Foundation.org. On that website, there is a donate page where you can donate. So we are also, there will be events that we have coming up. We have given out scholarships in Jelani's name for the past 3 years. We are endeavoring to do many more things. We have given out food baskets for Thanksgiving. We've helped families during Christmas in honor of Jelani. So we just want to continue to do things to help.
Carmen, thank you very much for sharing yourself and sharing your son's life with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580 on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, it is Fat Meat Fridays with none other than Gina Towns.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Former President Joe Biden says minority communities are under attack by the Trump administration.
You know, and they're doing it all too often with the help of a Congress that's just sitting aside.
Speaking at the annual gala of the National Bar Association, which is the nation's oldest and largest network of Black legal professionals, Biden warned that gains made during his term are being rolled back and called the current fight the most serious since the 1960s. Prosecutors want a longer prison sentence for Sean Diddy Combs, who was convicted on 2 counts of transporting for prostitution. He faces up to 10 years per count. They're also fighting his request for $50 million bail ahead of his October 3rd sentencing. And Black Illinois Congressman Danny Davis is retiring at 83 and will not seek a 16th term. He's endorsing State Senator LaShawn Ford to succeed him. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Spending 2 hours staring at the back of someone's bumper isn't the best way to end your day. So Jack in the Box is giving you a bonus with their new Bonus Jack Combo. Fries, a drink, and a burger with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 patties, starting at just $4.49. Get so much more.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers may have made some progress in finding a backup quarterback behind Justin Herbert. Trey Lance, the number 3 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, was the main story Thursday night in the Chargers' 34-7 preseason win over Detroit in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. Lance completed 13 of 20 passes and threw for 2 touchdowns. This is a very important summer for Lance. The Chargers are his 3rd team since he was drafted by San Francisco. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh is giving Lance another chance. At the moment, Lance is making the most of his opportunity. The Rams play their preseason opener August 9th against Dallas at SoFi Stadium. The LA Sparks are back in action tonight at Seattle. The Sparks have been playing much better lately in the WNBA. They are 6-2 in their last 8. The Dodgers are at Tampa Bay tonight. The Angels are home against the Chicago White Sox. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time. Whenever news breaks, while we're on the air, it's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580. And we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. And I thank you, thank you.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and welcome to Fat Meat Fridays, where the executive producer of our show and the creator of our show, Gina Towns, who is the president and CEO of 519 Productions and the executive producer of the show, graduated from Hampton University with a degree in mass media arts and journalism. Gina has also earned her master's in theology and social justice from Princeton Theological Seminary. She's the co-producer of the Emmy Award-nominated documentary, Hampton University, One of the Wonders of the World. And as a writer and producer and performer, her single, Yes, hit number 26 with a bullet on Billboard. She produced and directed a live broadcast in Afternoon with Dr. Lewis Sullivan, MD, and influenced a rewrite of the opening scene of the position of Morehouse School of Medicine's Brand while directing communications, logistics, and location management for the HBO film The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, starring Oprah Winfrey. Gina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Hi, Jesse Jackson Jr. How are you today?
Doing great, thank you.
Well, I'm just going to be very honest. I was so moved by the last segment with Carmen Bolden Day. I think that I had some things planned that I wanted to talk about today, and perhaps I will get to them, but I really cannot leave our discussion, because it is a discussion that we all too often have to have in our community. And I had thoughts about the program before Carmen came on today. I knew the details, but as Carmen talked about them and you got to see and hear a mother's love, a mother's pain, and her fight to make it right, I am so moved in my whole physiology. And I know that those of you who are listening could hear it. And as I said, it's a story that we, have heard all too often. We continue to hear it, and there is no justice. And in this moment, I am reminded of Reverend Al Sharpton: when there is no justice, there is no peace. And we have to share in that no peace until we get to the point of justice.
Yeah, it's a really, really sad story. And you'd think that the government of the United States, both the state of Illinois and the federal government, would be trying to deliver some relief to the Day family during this awful period of what has happened. And it just seems like there are too many people who are not speaking up. It sounds like, and I can't justify or verify this, but it feels like there's information out there that is not being shared with us by the authorities. And our history is so replete with these kinds of incidents where our families are left struggling emotionally, mentally, physically. She even shared with us, Gina, that Jelani's father, she saw the deterioration in him upon the loss of his life, and that April, he expired himself.
Absolutely, because that kind of pain, and pain in any form, takes its toll, emotional, spiritual, psychological. And I remember when George Floyd was murdered in front of the world, I was reminded that there were so many people that have been murdered and their names go unnoticed. And I have about 5 or 6 pages back to back in my social media post where I just found as many people as I could, and I posted their names: Natasha McKenna, Jerame Reed, Romaine Brisbane, Tamir Rice, Akai Kareem Gurley, Tanisha Anderson, Dante Parker, Azell Ford, Michael Brown, John Crawford III, Tyree Woodson, Eric Garner, Dontre Hamilton, Victor White III, Gabriella Monique Navarez, Yvette Smith, Mackenzie Cochran, Jordan Baker, Andre Lopez, Miriam Iris Carey, Barrington B.J. Williams, Jonathan Farrell. And the list goes on and on and on. And even before our modern day society, this was the case. The strange fruit that hung from the trees. This was the case. And when Howard Thurman is talking about the hounds of hell that chase us, and this is the plight, and there's so many fronts, and people want to know why it is that Black people keep complaining, and why aren't you happy yet? It's not that we are not happy, it is that we are not at peace. And until the mothers can stop crying out, we still hear Marvin Gaye, mother, mother, what's going on? And now we see things being rolled back that would help us to continue to fight for our rights, to expand things that have been achieved. But this is what has been talked about. And I talked about this a little bit last week, that people on the show and in general are beginning to call it what it is a present evil.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, more on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey man, hey, what's up, bro? What's the station you listening to? Oh man, you don't know? That's Talk Radio, KBLA 1580 AM. Check it out. 1580 KBLA AM. Talk Radio, progressive.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're celebrating our 4th anniversary, and this track right here is the gift one of our devoted listeners presented to us.
Where you get some information, get a true education to know. Ooh, yeah.
How cool is that? Having a member of our KBLA delegation write us a song. Stop it! Our listeners love us and there ain't nothing we can do about it. Wouldn't want to. Thanks to Cardell and everybody else for turning on KBLA Talk 1580. We love you right black.
KBLA 1580 Talk Radio. Talk Radio, progressive. KBLA.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Charmin Ultra Strong. You can use less, better than the rest. Charmin Ultra Strong. Booty past the clean test. Salmon weave texture, it's the best. Study up, teach a lesson all fresh. Your booty past the clean test. Yes, sir. Charmin Ultra Strong.
Charmin Ultra Strong with diamond weave texture cleans better than the leading one-ply brand, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
There's one question every couple needs to answer. What if something happens to us? Kids, a house, a life you've built, but no estate plan? That's a risk you don't want to take. With Trust and Will, it's fast, secure, and easy to protect what matters most. Start your plan today at trustandwill.com. Use code RADIO to save 20%. Check it off your list. One less thing to worry about. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will. Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns, and on this show on Friday, we wrap up our week. We often reflect upon what our week represented and what we covered. And Gina, a few minutes ago, you went through a rather lengthy list of our people, our children, our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, whose lives were prematurely cut short. In this moment, I think about the presumption. I think about probable cause. And I think if any one fact pattern verifies any case, particularly as it relates to police interaction with our community, at issue is always when a police officer sees or perceives that he sees that he has a right to engage an African American or anyone for that matter because of something called probable cause. Your thoughts, Gina?
Absolutely. Probable cause. I remember you said earlier in the week about the fact that Black people, and in particular Black men, are born with probable cause. It is a part of being Black in America. The presumption that if your tail light is out, I can go ahead and search the whole car and, without a warrant. There is a freedom that people want to take.
Todd Erie called it an entitlement.
An entitlement. And you know what? I have to always clarify because everybody is not the same. It's just that when you have a large incident of things that are so glaring and things that are so reprehensible and heinous that are ongoing. And see, what happens is when things are ongoing, we become numb to them. They don't even get reported in the news, and people just kind of go, it's happening again. And sometimes it's that way because what can I do about it? I mean, you look at Carmen's situation, she's asking for help and she can't get the help that she needs. And then when people get upset and they take matters into their own hands, and then, you now have another set of people who are going to be somewhere in the system, maybe not dead physically, but certainly dead on the role of society as they go through the prison system.
Gina, something went horribly wrong in that Jelani Day case. And it really does require some federal oversight or some federal involvement, because it may be that the local police department itself is incapable of conducting an investigation that it may have some culpability in. Now, I'm not pointing the fingers at anyone, but certainly an investigation that is not providing more information to Carmen is deeply troubling. And again, probable cause. What is the interaction between the police and Jelani? Could there have been any interaction that day? The missing license plates, the car on the other side of town, his clothes found a mile away. What is he doing out of his clothes? A mile away from his body. And suicide? No organs? How do you suicide yourself without organs? How do you remove parts of your face? That just doesn't add up. And when I think about police officers shooting into Breonna Taylor's apartment, I mean, what's the probable cause? Why? So probable cause is a standard that I believe Black people are just born with. If you have a broken taillight, if you're wearing your hair a certain kind of way, if you're wearing your clothes a certain kind of way, if you're walking through a major store and you end up being followed by local security or security within the store, it's because we are born in, they don't care about your degree, your pedigree, who you are, or where you're from. You're just born into the world with probable cause. And we need to change the probable cause standard. The day that we do, the day that probable cause is wrong, the day that we change the standard, the day that society itself is going to treat not only Black people, but poor working class white people differently as well when it comes into contact with the criminal justice system.
I think in addition to the word evil and everything that is the connotation of that, we are in a society, and this is ongoing, but it is continuing to blossom and flourish. Instead of justice flourishing, we see moral decay. The mere fact that we can sit and know that these things are going on for any family, I don't care, beyond color, because Dr. King talked about the fact that we had to look beyond color when evil is present. I think about the conversation that you did have with Johnny Mack, and King wanted his professors of the faith and his pulpit counterparts to open their eyes, to open their ears, and not just be aware, but to also take action. And I think that when we don't have conversations with each other across the aisle, across communities, people are sometimes unaware and they can't feel. I mean, you could feel what Carmen was saying, and it visibly shook me just to hear her actually talk about it. And I think that we report the news, and I'm not finding fault because none of us are perfect, okay? But we do have to point out those things as a society that we can improve upon, that we can be better at, and be without excuse as it comes to our one another relationships. So I think one of the ways that I wanted to describe this was that we need to wake up. We are asleep at the wheel.
I absolutely agree with you. I would just add that in this moment, I'm thinking about my son. I'm thinking about your son. I'm thinking about all of our sons. I'm thinking about all of our daughters. Not one of us want our children or our families to go through this. Not one. And yet, the reality is we are just one phone call away from this kind of tragedy knocking on our own door. So what is it? What is it that makes us live our lives every single day with the worry and the anxiety that our children may not be coming home tonight?
That's absolutely the case. You do have to train your children in a different way and in a different fashion. And especially now, I have talked to my grown children because I am not there to watch over them. But hopefully you have trained your kids. That's all of us. Hopefully we have trained our children to be wise in the things that they're doing, and to not take for granted, because the days are not just evil. The days are retro in some ways for us right now. And so you don't want to live a life where you're in fear all the time, but definitely wisdom is always appropriate. And what does that mean?
That's a good question. What does it mean?
Well, I trained especially my son, when he was 14, we went out driving. I was teaching him how to drive at that time. He had 15, he had his learner's permit, and we pulled over a county sheriff, and I said, do you mind if I train my son a little bit with you, sir? And he says, well, sure. And I said, well, so what do you call him, son? And he says, Sheriff, sir. And I said, correct. I said, if he was a police officer, then you would say officer, sir. If he's a trooper, you say trooper, sir. You keep your hands here at 10 and 2. And, you don't reach for anything. You ask for permission for everything. And the sheriff was like, my gosh, I've never seen anybody doing this before. I said, oh, this is normal in the community that I'm from. And in fact, for my own self, I have been profiled and pulled over. It's amazing, the things that go on from day to day that people just kind of don't know about, won't believe that happens. And that's why I kind of go back to how important, not only your show is, but our conversations as we engage people in Starbucks, or no matter where it is, to be able to expose one another to who we are. Because sometimes it just boils down to fear of the unknown.
Carmen is still with us, and she writes in the chat, I trained my sons, especially that they had 2 strikes against them. 1, they were Black, and 2, they were males. Now, I've tried to summarize that this week by saying this: they were born into the world with probable cause, that they were looked at as less intelligent than they were, less articulate than they are, less hardworking than they work, that they are born into the world with the presumption of guilt over innocence, and from womb to tomb, They are in a constant navigation, a navigation that is personal as well as existential to who they are. We are Black men. And so when I walk out of this hotel, when I walk into this grocery store, when I confront or have to get pulled over by this police officer, and I put my hands at the 10 o'clock position and the 2 o'clock position, and I'm a 60-year-old grown man, how I speak to that police officer, he high school graduate, walk up to my car talking much smack and much garbage. At high school level, I've got to stop being who I am and speak to that man with a level of respect that comes with the presumption and the probable cause. And in that moment, he absolutely has the power over the trajectory of my life. He has the power over the trajectory of my life. So does the professor in my classroom, by the way. So does the principal in my school, by the way. So does the president of the university that I'm in, by the way. So does, by the way, oncoming traffic. The decisions that we make as young African-American men from womb until we are old African-American men, if we live to be old African-American men, what follows our lives is something called the presumption and probable cause. That is inescapable. And I can't, thank Carmen Bolden Day enough. She said exactly what my mama told me and exactly what my daddy told me. Maybe my mother said it more times than my father said it. And I think our mothers say it to their sons more times than their fathers actually say it. Because mothers know what it means to lose a child. It doesn't take away the pain from a father. It's just that because she birthed a man into the world, she already knows that there are certain obstacles that will confront his existence from womb to tomb.
The conversation is an important one. It's still important. And I think even as we're talking about Texas, considering the redistricting of their congressional map so that they can get rid of seats that are occupied and representative of Black people, this is part of what we are talking about. This is part of a cycle of pain that comes in so many different ways that is difficult to even really get a hold of. I mean, the way that it attacks the mind, the sympathetic nervous system. And so I think we have to really speak up in this hour. We cannot allow ourselves to just be dummied down because when the spirit is troubled and it gets distressed, it seriously gets us off in our thinking and our behavior. I've been seeing so many people walking down the street talking to themselves. Now, mind you, I talk to myself. I think we all talk to ourselves, but I am talking about a different societal issue that seems to be growing in nature because of hope lost, despair, lack of opportunity, and so many things, because you even have to take into account what goes on in the home as people are being, raised as children when parents are depressed and, the system is the way that it is.
We just have a couple of minutes before the break, but you broached this question about the Voting Rights Act of 1965 being attacked by Republicans in Texas. It's also, even though they'll never admit to it, being attacked by Democrats in California. Yes, Gavin Newsom is prepared to readjust the state of California's lines to offset what they're doing in Texas. But the only way you change those lines is if you change the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Governor Pritzker in Illinois is now saying, let's change the lines. And the only way to change those lines to get more Democrats is to offset the Voting Rights Act of 1965. That's true in New York. That's true in New Jersey. That's true in Georgia. That's true in Alabama. So as we creep down this road, everyone who's saying that they're a Democrat and the Democrats must fight back, well, the Democrats may win this fight, but there won't be no Blacks in Congress because they'll move African Americans who've been segregated against, who ended up in certain sides of town with a street running down the middle of it named Martin Luther King, a John Lewis Street, a Barack Obama Street. We live on the black side of town. If we, in fact, are not paying attention and being woke in this hour, we could lose a lot of representation. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA 1580 Talk. When we come forward, more with Gina Towns on reflectivity.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is vetoing a city council bill that would decriminalize illegal street vending.
It's all about votes. That's all. I think sometimes that's to get votes.
New Yorkers have had mixed reactions, with some supporting the move and others worried about street overcrowding. Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco Johnson are being sued for $20 million over false claims made on their Nightcap podcast. Jamelina Tillman, who attended an Usher concert, says they wrongly claimed she was married and divorcing. Tillman, who is single, says the false story damaged her reputation, and despite reaching out, the claims were never corrected. And Maryland is launching Longevity Ready Maryland to support its growing senior population. Black Governor Wes Moore says the plan brings together state agencies, communities, and private partners to build a stronger care system as federal aid declines. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Spending 2 hours staring at the back of someone's bumper isn't the best way to end your day. So Jack in the Box is giving you a bonus with their new Bonus Jack Combo. Fries, a drink, and a burger with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 patties, starting at just $4.49. Get so much more.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers may have made some progress in finding a backup quarterback behind Justin Herbert. Trey Lance, the number 3 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, was the main story Thursday night in the Chargers' 34-7 preseason win over Detroit in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. Lance completed 13 of 20 passes and threw for 2 touchdowns. This is a very important summer for Lance. The Chargers are his third team since he was drafted by San Francisco. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh is giving Lance another chance. At the moment, Lance is making the most of his opportunity. The Rams play their preseason opener August 9th against Dallas at SoFi Stadium. The LA Sparks are back in action tonight at Seattle. The Sparks have been playing much better lately in the WNBA. They are 6-2 in their last 8. The Dodgers are at Tampa Bay tonight. The Angels are home against the Chicago White Sox. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa,
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we aim to foster enlightening, sustainable, restorative dialogue, and we welcome unapologetically progressive viewpoints that empower fellow citizens. We are now accepting submissions for KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorials like this one.
For the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley Show conversation with James Barr. James said something that caught me off guard. Black Altadena is gone. My community is being murdered. I said murdered.
All you have to do is go to our website homepage at kbla1580.com and click on the icon that says KBLA Guest Editorials to learn more about our editorial standards and content submission guidelines. As long as the topic aligns with our mission, we are happy to review your submission and consider it for broadcast. We can't make any promises, but we want to amplify progressive perspectives that are community-focused and solution-oriented. So go to KBLA1580.com right now to download all the information you need about our guest editorials. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time. Whenever news breaks, while we're on the air, it's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580. And we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity with Gina Towns. Gina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you, Jesse Jackson Jr.
Gina, we've had a hell of a week.
Yes, we have. There was so much fat meat. And one thing about the Fat Meat Fridays is that we want to have it be able to sizzle while it's cooking. And hopefully you can cut away enough of the fat so that you can end up with a lean piece of meat. And then we reflect on it and see if we can have some activity as a result. So that's the reflectivity part. But if you would indulge me for just another moment, I would like to read some more names. Stephen Eugene Washington, Aaron Campbell, Kawani Carrington, Victor Steen, Shem Walker, Oscar Grant III, Tarika Wilson, Deonta Terrell Farrow, Sean Bell, Katherine Johnston, Ronald Curtis Madison, James B. Brissett, Henry Ace Glover, Timothy Stansberry, Alberta Spruill, Kendra Cerie James, Orlando Barlow, Nelson Martinez Mendez, Timothy Dwayne Thomas, Ronald Beasley, Earl Murray, Patrick Moses Dorismond, Prince Carmen Jones Jr., Malcolm Ferguson.
You can only cry genocide for the number of men and women in our community who've lost their lives at the hand of law enforcement. And a significant number of the names that you've mentioned are just that. There are others that you mentioned who are not at the hands of law enforcement. Mm-hmm. But a significant number of them are at the hands of men and women who have been sworn to serve and protect. And the standard by which they approach Black people is based upon their perception of what constitutes a crime, based on their perception of whether or not the suspect is guilty. And how the suspect reacts or behaves in the presence of the law, the police officer, they're not the law, the police officer, who in these cases becomes both judge, jury, and executioner. All you can do is cry genocide. I mean, that along the scale that you've mentioned is a plan. Now, Abraham Lincoln said in his speech to the Sanitary Fair that it was impossible to imagine, for example, the court, which was supposed to be a separate branch of government, the House of Representatives and the Senate, another separate branch of government, the White House, another separate branch of government, and, for example, the states and the governors themselves, a separate branch of government, that even though they have not been in the same room at the same time meeting, if everyone walks out of their respective homes with a piece of wood and the corners are perfectly carved, and when they put the four pieces of wood together from the courts, from the Congress, from the presidency, and from the governors, when they put the four pieces together, it forms a perfect frame. It is hard to believe that the parties had not worked upon a common plan that every piece of wood fits like a Jenga puzzle. No piece of wood is different. No corner is different. A perfectly framed house. So, how is it that all of these cases from California to New York City, to Georgia, to Florida, to city of Chicago, and Laquan McDonald, to George Floyd in Minnesota, how is it that we've never met these police officers, and I've never met George Floyd in my life, but when all of the pieces come together, they frame a perfect house consistently with the same story, with police officers in different jurisdictions who've never met each other. And while the facts of the case themselves may differ, the fact of the matter is the result is always the same. It is hard to imagine that they've not all agreed upon a common plan. So what's the common plan? First, from womb to tomb, there is a presumption that Negro right there is guilty. I don't even know his name. He's guilty. He's gonna run. The second is the probable cause standard, the reason for the police interaction in the first place. That, in every case, frames a perfect house. Gina?
You know, there is a phrase that sometimes things are so sad that you have to joke about them, but I got stopped driving while black was something, you know, that phrase has been around for a minute now. It speaks to the fact that there's a conscious level that are biased, and we have to go ahead and call it what it is, an ever-present hate that persists within our country, persists within people and mankind. And so one of the things that I have discussed with our Monday host, Reverend Teresa Horde Owens, I've discussed it with Johnny Mack at one point, and Todd Urey. I don't think Barbara Arnwine and I have had this conversation, but I want to know the same question that Martin Luther King wanted to know from the Birmingham jail, and is, where are my counterparts? Jesus does not cut off his arm and throw it over to this denomination or a leg into this denomination. He is one body, and he is the head of the body. And so for everybody running around here wondering why there is an apostasy with younger generations when it comes to God and things that are spiritual and how we treat one another, and at least a standard by which we would do that. We still are in segregated churches, although a lot of churches have changed and a lot of churches are growing in that. But I need for people to understand that it is high time that we challenge the powers that be. For those people who say that they believe, why are there still things that separate us when God is not separated? And Jesus is not separated. If you want to believe in Gandhi, Gandhi was not separated. I mean, in fact, he even said, I like your Christianity, but I don't like your Christians. And so as we look at ourselves as a nation, it really, we need to call ourselves to a moment of reflection.
Oh, absolutely, we do. And that reflection includes recognizing that what we all have in common is who we are. What we also have in common is the reaction created when we come into contact with other selves. What we also have in common is the legal standard by which we are determined pre-judgment. That means before, judge, there's a judge involved, prejudgment or prejudice. Prejudgment, prejudice, prejudice. Prejudice comes from the word of prejudgment. And then there's post-judgment, after the judgment. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, more of Reflectivity with Gina Towns.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Fatherhood includes being present during pregnancy, delivery, and beyond, supporting your partner and advocating for your baby's health. Black fathers play a key role in reducing maternal and infant health inequalities. Join the free AIM Fatherhood Program and make a difference. Visit blackinfantsandfamilies.org/fatherhood.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency. All over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns. Gina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you, Jesse Jackson Jr.
Gina, I want to just go through the week very quickly. On Monday, I thought we had a very, very rich conversation with Teresa Hord Owens, the head of the Disciples of Christ on the starvation in Gaza. On Tuesday, Barbara Arnwine rang the bell on challenges to the Voting Rights Act and the consequences that we are likely to experience, and some of the great challenges that are before the Democratic and Republican Party tied to that act, what it means around the country, certainly the ripple effect. On Wednesdays, we talked with Reverend Dr. Todd Yeary about probable cause, about prejudgment and post-judgment, and the standards. And of course, on Thursday, we had a very, very deep conversation with Johnny Mack discussing the World House and how Dr. King might respond to the current era and to the daily current crisis that we find ourselves in. I love Johnny Mack's show because he brings so much together by the end of the week. And he said, we must have a new appreciation of time, that we live in time, but living in time requires us to have a reflection over time. And we talked about remaining awake through a revolution, and how a revolution, Gina, takes place every 20 years. You are living between 1956 and 1976, from Emmett Till to Jimmy Carter, 76 to 96. You would have missed the Reagan era if you were asleep. From 96 to 2016, if you were asleep, you'd have missed the entire Obama era. Rip Van Winkle went up the hill and King George III was on the end. His picture was up. He came down and there was a picture of George Washington. The time between King George III and George Washington was 20 years. You can miss a lot if you're sleeping through a revolution. Gina Towns.
I think that is one of the reasons why we have been on this show to bridge between the generations. Because if you miss a generation or you didn't live through the previous generation, then there are things that you are just not going to know. We are not in a space and place where we cannot share information with each other, share experience with each other, be in community with each other. And that's why I love Ernest Krim's show. He'll be back this Monday. What's love got to do with it? Common unity in community, which is common unity. It is imperative right now that we not separate, that we not place emphasis on age and generation right now, particularly in our community. We must find the places where we can meld together with other communities, Black, brown, poor, the things that we have in common. They must be our common goal. They must be our common cause. So, and it always puzzles me when people think, well, yeah, I'm going to be part of this. And then you find out in the end that somebody just used you to get where they wanted to get to. And you become a fatality, a casualty of the larger picture of whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish that causes no good to anyone involved and to humanity.
Yeah, you've got to pay very close attention to that. If you dedicate your life to service of others, there are going to be some ups and some downs. Dr. King said he had been to the mountaintop, but any man who says that they've been to the mountaintop also has a valley view. The valley view is very different than the mountaintop view. And he stood on top of the mountaintop and he saw the promised land, but he said, I may not get there with you. Of course, from the mountaintop view, he's talking to people who find themselves in a valley. And what does that mean? To be in a valley. It's to be in anxiety. It is to be in depression. It is to be in a form of oppression. It means to be one of the rejected stones that can potentially become the cornerstones of the new republic. And I continue to make the argument that on September 17th, 1787, America was not a democracy. It was a republic. They picked George Washington amongst themselves. His first election, not essentially by popular vote, but amongst a group of white men. They picked a man of what they called pious reflection. And then by 1791, the Bill of Rights, individual rights. They did not want a different kind of autocracy, a military junta running the country. And they demanded individual rights that the states themselves were to respect. But of course, they added the 10th Amendment, and they're overwhelmingly concerned about property interests. They left the freedmen, the slaves who would be freedmen, and their rights to the states. They left them in chattel slavery. But it is the Negro and his and her history that is responsible for the 13th, 14th, 15th, 19th, and 26th Amendments to the Constitution. We are responsible for democracy. Democracy is not the natural instinct of Democrats or Republicans. They are so in love with themselves, so interested in the preservation of their brands, that they don't have a problem with zero blacks in state legislatures. Long as Democrats and Republicans get to fight it out on their terms, they don't have a problem with zero blacks in Congress. So now Jasmine Crockett, effective yesterday, no longer lives in her congressional district. Under the state of Texas's plan, one of our most vocal voices in the Congress of the United States now has her home drawn into a very different congressional district that may, in effect, make it impossible for her in the next election to even return to the Congress of the United States. Now, if they can go state by state, Democrats and Republicans, and take people's homes out of congressional districts and draw mealy-mouthed people's homes into congressional districts, you can end up with some blacks that you won't even recognize, singing uncertain tunes, giving uncertain speeches, never reflecting upon our history, never singing the Negro National Anthem, all three verses. They're going to miss it all. And Johnny Mack said, Gina, that we are sleeping through a great revolution.
So as we, what comes to mind is, as you are talking, the whole purpose of Fat Meat Friday is to put the fat meat in this skillet. And as I said earlier, the reflectivity part of it is we've done some reflecting this week, and now we need some activity. So let's challenge ourselves to do some Zoom calls, do some FaceTime calls. Call your mom and your dad, call your aunts and uncles, call your brothers and sisters. Let's get a family Zoom call going. Let's get some neighbors involved and have some conversations. Pastors, let's, get to a meaty message and let's endeavor to go to church. Let's endeavor to get involved with a community organization where we can have community. These things are really important right now. No man is an island, and we cannot be unto ourselves at this particular point in time. We are going to have to be unified. We're going to have to come together. We're going to have to reach out. And sometimes that's not easy because there's so many distractions. We have purposely, in my mind, been divided, and social media does it. We don't go out as much as we used to and come in contact with one another, but we are at a place in time where we must communicate.
Gina, congratulations, and thank you very much for this wonderful Fat Meat Friday and a great week on the show.
Well, we owe it all to you and your voice. Thank you for your voice. And you certainly have gotten a lot of accolade with the things that you have done, said. We appreciate you, Jesse, and we wish you well in all of the current endeavors you're in.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, it will be Monday, and I will be back in Chicago.